Okay, folks, so just for ease of doing this, I decided to take my shaft out so it would be easier to videotape. But anyways, you got two little tabs. You've got this tab here and this tab here. And when you test fit your bearing, you want to make sure that it's snug. So you put your bearing down in there, and it should be snug and it should fit flush like such. Okay, so there's a little lip right here that you can kind of see. You can kind of see there. And so I've got the set screws out. So you got these set screw holes right here, and there's 4 of them that go around the exterior of your shaft or the exterior of the bearing or whatnot. And you take them out, and it says to Loctite them and then set them into place but not tighten them yet. And then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so we test fitted our bearing. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it back out. See, it's kind of snug. So pulled it back out. I'll just test it one more time just to make sure we got a little bit of an interference there. So yeah, it's not supposed to be super tight, but it's supposed to be a little bit snug. So I'm bringing it back over here, and they supply you with a little bit of Loctite and a little bit of petroleum jelly. And so prior to test fitting installation of this stuff, I went ahead and cleaned the inside of that shaft to try and make sure that the shaft has the steering column, this portion. On the insides, it says to clean it down to 1 inch below the surface of the edge here. So I cleaned it with the emery cloth that was provided, shot it with some brake cleaner just to kind of clean it up some. And yeah, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to put that Loctite on the set screws, which are little brass tip set screws right here. Put some Loctite on them, get them flush to the inner side diameter of the bearing, and then put some petroleum jelly around the surface right here to reinstall. So that's the next step. Okay, so here we go. I put some petroleum jelly around the outside of that plastic piece there. All these are Loctited and flush with the inside there, so they're not tightened yet. And then we're going to install. So drop it in the shaft. Again, it should go all the way down and seat. Okay, there we go. So now we go to the next step. All right, so the next thing is this retaining collar. As you see, there's a beveled edge here. Sorry about the focus, but there's a beveled edge here. There's a witness mark somewhere. There's the witness mark. And then you got these set screws. You got 3 of them, and there's also 3 slots. Right here, right here, and right here. And those 3 set screws are gonna set into those slots, but what you're gonna do is this opening, you're gonna make sure that that little dot right there, a little dimple, is right centered on that. And you're gonna try and set it into the into those little indexes. So give me a second because I'm gonna need both hands to do this, but I'll show it to you in just a minute. All right, so it was a little bit tight to get on there, but now that it is, you can see, hopefully, sorry for the light, guys. Let's see if I can do something about that. So you can see, hopefully, there's a dimple here. And that dimple should be right centered on that guy. Then these set screws should be in those holes that I told you about. And it should be flush with the edge of the bearing, which it is. It's not the top, that little lip piece right there should be out, but the edge of the actual bearing casing should be flush with that. So now I'm going to tighten these screws, and they should be flush when they're fully tightened down. So let's check it out, see it after I get done. All right, so those are tightened. Now the last thing to do is to tighten down the set screws in the actual bearing. Let's see if I can get this thing to focus in, but the actual set screws, which are right here, there's 4 of them. So I'm gonna tighten those down, and it takes 48 to 72 hours, I think, to cure properly or something like that, according to the directions, I believe, or 24 to 48, I can't remember. Anyways, so I'll get that done. And what next to go on is my Borgeson shaft, so that should be pretty cool too. So I'll tighten it down. It seems pretty easy. Like I said, you don't have to take your shaft out. I just did it so it would be easier to make this video. But essentially you can do this in your vehicle, no problem. You just want to make sure everything's cleaned up and all that good stuff. All right, thanks. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do before I call it a night, I'm not doing the Borgeson shaft till probably tomorrow or the next day, but I'm going to take some anti-seize and I'm just going to take it, I'm going to brush a little bit onto the splines of the shaft here. It's for ease of installation with Borgeson shafts, and I'll probably do the inside of the mating surface of the Borgeson shaft that I got, and I'll do that also at the gearbox side. So anyways, easy installation, man. It didn't take long. So quality parts, you know, I think it's going to be a really good addition. So there we go. Thanks.